ఓం సహనా భవతు సహనౌ భునక్తు సహ వీర్యం కరవావహై తేజస్వినావధీతమస్తు మా విద్విషావహై. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. కర్తురాజ్ఞయా ప్రాప్యతే ఫలం కర్మ కిం పరం కర్మ తజ్జడం కృతిమహో దదౌ పతన కారణం ఫలమశాశ్వతం గతి నిరోధకం. ఈశ్వరార్పితం నేచ్ఛయా కృతం చిత్తశోధకం ముక్తిసాధకం. కాయవాంగ్మనః కార్యముత్తమం పూజనం జపశ్చింతనం క్రమాత్ జగత ఈషధీ యుక్త సేవనం అష్టమూర్తిభృద్దేవ పూజనం. ఆజ్యధారయా శ్రోతసా సమం ఉత్తమస్తవాదుచ్చమందతః చిత్తజం జప ధ్యానముత్తమం. ఆజ్యధారయా శ్రోతసా సమం సరళచింతనం విరలతః పరం. భేదభావనాత్ శోకమిత్యసౌ భావనాభిదా పావనీ మతా. భావశూన్య సద్భావసుస్థితిః భావనా బలాద్ భక్తిరుత్తమా. హృత్స్థలే మనః స్వస్థతా క్రియా భక్తి యోగ బోధాశ్చ నిశ్చితం. So this special karma, which is directly connected to Ishvara, not indirectly connected. Every karma becomes worship if one has discovered oneself to be basically a devotee. But to discover that devotee, who is first and last, who plays different roles, then the devotee is allowed to express himself, herself as a person, the devotee as the basic person. So that's possible only when there is an action which has nothing to do with anything else except it is It is an action which is an expression of relating to Ishvara. So this is what we call prayer. So there are different forms of prayer, which is now these different forms are brought under. So three categories from the standpoint of the Karana. So Karanam means Kriyate Anena iti Karanam. An action done by what means is called Karanam. So this Karana here is the physical limbs and the vak organ of speech and the mind. So this is we look upon it as three Karanas. There are many Karanas, but these are the main Karanas as we base our division of karma. And in a division like, suppose when you say it is a puja, kaya karyam. This is called kaya karya. Kaya means physical body. The body here means the physical limbs like hands. And so these physical limbs are employed in the performance of this prayer. This is what we call a ritualistic prayer. So in a puja, the hands are involved and some materials also are involved. An altar outside is involved. Then only you can place a flower. So an altar is involved, and to this altar you offer a form of worship, and for which of course you employ your hands and some materials like flowers and so on. So in the world, the Vedic, even now the Vedic rituals are still in vogue. They are not completely gone extinct. But it is not daily performed by people. They are supposed to. The Vedikas, even though they don't perform them. So the Agrihotradi karmas, even though they don't perform, they are still in vogue and they are substituted by puja. So when you do the puja, then there is, the mind of course is involved. Mind also is a karana, and mind is employed because you have to think about what you are doing. Then the words are also involved, therefore the organ of speech is also employed. When you say the Ashtotra and or any other mantra, so thus you have to employ the organ of speech plus the hands and flowers and so on. So all the three Karanas are employed in a puja. You have to understand this. Kaya Karyam Puja means we should know that the mind also is employed and the organ of speech also are employed. So all the three Karanas are employed, but the special feature here is Kayam. Kaya, the physical limbs, are the special feature in that. Special again from the standpoint of the other two. So the other two, if you analyze, so like the prayer, a vocal, a oral prayer, which is generally used in all religions. And this oral prayer is the mind and the vak organ of speech. Only these two Karanas are employed. Whereas in puja, the third Karana, the hands are employed. And therefore that is called Kaya Karyam. Then Vak Karyam means, a Karya means something that is to be done. Something that is done, to be done, that's why it is called Karyam. So every day we are supposed to do, this is called Nitya Karma. So everyday prayer. So for the gain of the Antakarana Shuddhi, as we have analyzed. So the Chitta Shodakam, Mukti Sadakam iti. There any other result is not the main criterion, but purely the result that is expected out of this karma is only Antakarana Shuddhi, the purification of your Antakarana. And therefore this Vakaryam is like, you can chant the whole Rudram. That is called Uttamas Stavaha. It is called Stava. Stava means Stuti. That is why it is called Suktam. Suktam is another name for Stuti. Sushtu Uktam Suktam iti. What is said well is called Sukta, a hymn of praise. So Purusha Suktam, where the Lord is presented in fact and praised in the process. And this Rudra is also a Sukta. And thus you have this Rudradi Suktas that you have. This Suktam, this Sukta is called Uttamastavaha. Why it is Uttamaha? Because it is Vedic. There is no other reason. Just Uttamaha because it is Vedic. So being Vedic hymn, then Veda has got its own sanctity. So coming as it does from the Rishis, therefore we look upon them as Arsha. This is the meaning of Arsha. Coming from Rishi is called Arsha. Arsha Vidya is knowledge. So knowledge unfolded by the Rishis, which is in Vedanta Veda. And therefore this is Arsha. So the Arsha is this hymn coming from the Vedas, part of the Veda, and therefore that is called Uttamastava. This Stava can be also substituted by, as the Vedic ritual is substituted by Puja, and the Uttamastava is substituted by, like the Smartha Granthas, the various hymns that are there in the songs of praise, verses of praise, like Vishnu Sahasranamam. When you do Archana also, it is Stava, it is Stuti alone. And therefore, when you perform a ritual, you are using the Stuti in the form of a Archana, in the form of offering flower. It is converted into a ritual. But if you don't do it, then it becomes purely a oral Stuti. So if you look into the original form of Vishnu Sahasranama or any Sahasranama, it will be in the form of verses. So which you can repeat. Which you can repeat as a stava, as verses of praise of Ishvara. Because it is Namaha is there because that you are relating to the Lord. That Namaha reveals the individuals relating, and the word praises the person. Praises means you mention a quality, an attribute of Ishvara. And then also these attributes are two types of attributes. Attributes which we study in Vedanta, as attributes of Ishvara, which is very common. Then there are certain attributes coming from the Puranas. So this Ishvara assuming various forms as we are told in the Puranas. So to bless the devotees, and those forms, with reference to those forms, they call Leela Vigrahas. So with reference to the Leela of Bhagavan or the Avatara, so there you have some words, special words. And these special words are culled from the Purana. Thus we have two types of words. Words which are describing as Anantaya Namaha, Achyutaya Namaha. All these words, Ananta, Achyuta, Sarvajna, Sarvavit, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvashaktimate, etc. These words are all descriptive of Ishvara. And then there are words like the one who had Ravana, the one who had destroyed Ravana. Definitely it is an attribution, an attribute of the Lord Vishnu in the form of Rama. And there he had accomplished this particular act of destroying a demon called Ravana, and therefore the one who becomes, so Ravana Hartre Namaha iti, then you can add one more word. Like this we have varieties of words from the avatars and words that are purely descriptive of Parameshwara. Thus any one Sahasranama you can take, Vishnu Sahasranama or Shiva Sahasranama. The descriptive words are always the same. Only the deities will change. If you convert into if it is a Devi, if it is a female deity, so the only gender will change. but then everything else will be the same. And so she will be all knowing, she will be almighty, etc. But the gender will change. And then plus a certain forms which are attributed to again the Leela. The Leela means that there are Puranas, so which talk about, so Devi accomplishing, so this particular, the Mahishasura was destroyed by Devi, and therefore she becomes Mahishasura Mardini ityadi. Words will come. They are all what they call the words describing the Leela of the deity. And thus, these are all simply there in the form of verses. So, which if you repeat without the act of performing this, offering this flower archana, performing archana, then it becomes purely a song of praise. Then if you add flowers and then do it, then it becomes puja. Understand? And thus we have the oral karyam, we call vak karyam, kaya karyam, vak karyam, and which again is substitution of the Vedic hymns. So if you can help yourself, so in chanting, so if you can chant the Vedic hymns, that's fine. But Vedic hymns means then there are swaras are involved, and therefore maybe people have difficulty, and therefore you have these verses are there which you can chant in whichever way you want, except singing. Understand? Certain things are to be recited, certain things can be sung, certain verses are to be recited alone. You can't and all that won't work there. And therefore, so these are the two. Then the third form is what we call manaha, mind as a karana. Why karana? By mind I relate. By mind I relate. By words I relate. By an act of worship I relate. And therefore by mind I relate means through thought process I relate. And therefore here the mind becomes a karana. Because, so manasa smarami. That's why they will say manasa smarami. Maha Ganapatim manasa smarami. So then Maha Ganapatim manasa smarami. With mind I dwell upon Maha Ganapati. There the mind is purely the karana. At this place it is karana. Then karana means it's a means by which you are relating to Ishvara. Therefore, this is an action. So, this is a mental action. So, mind also serves as a faculty to know. There it is not an action, really speaking. There it is knowing. And therefore, the mind undergoes a change. And when you say this is a flower, and this is purely here, there is no action involved. The mind is stationary. It is not really doing an action. In the sense, mind undergoes a change, and that change, the object of the change, is recognized by you. This is flower. So there is no willful action. That is what I said. Motion means the will does not move there to perform an action. Whereas when you invoke the Lord in a flower, and then you begin to meditate or do whatever, then that becomes an action. Because there is a will involved. And therefore, whenever the will-based action takes place, then only it is called Kriya Karma. And therefore, I will to meditate. This is what we call meditation. So the definition, therefore, meditation definition is, so Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyaparaha. So Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. So Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. First he says Manasa Vyaparaha. Or let us take Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyaparaha. Manasa will come later. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyaparaha. Vyapara is an activity. So this activity implies a subject and object. An action, activity means an action, vyapara. And so this karma, vyapara, it is a subject is involved, an object is involved, an objective is involved. So the objective here is Antakarana Shuddhi or whatever, it doesn't matter. So the objective, that is objective, the motive, the purpose. Then there is an object involved. So to whom you are, suppose I say, I am doing puja. So I do puja. So I do puja when you say, karomi. So karomi is definitely, this is a transitive verb. And then karomi, I do. So I do means what do you do? Then you say puja, that is only a description of the action. And to whom you do the puja. Next question is to whom you do the puja. Therefore, pujam karomi, when you say, then that action is described as puja. And again there is another karma that is involved. Unto whom you do the puja, a question is asked. That will be in the second case. Therefore, you can say, so here Narayanam. So Narayana, so in the form Ramam or Krishnam iti, and thus there is an altar. So this altar is the Saguna Brahma. Why they say Saguna Brahma? Because the Saguna Brahman alone is invoked as Narayana, as Shiva, as Krishna, as Rama, as Devi, etc. And therefore a general definition. They're all definitions. So general definition. Then afterwards it is Ishtam Sagunam Brahma. Your own Ishta. Ishta means then as you like. So this Ishtam may be due to some Purva Samskara. And whatever is the reason, because of some cultural upbringing, whatever, so you have a tendency, a liking, a leaning towards so Krishna, and some others towards Rama, some others, it's all Narayana, some others towards straight away Venkateshwara, Vishnu, or Venkateshwara. Venkateshwara is a combination of everything. He is all the three, really speaking. So Brahma, Vishnu, that is why he has got Nagabharanam, etc. The Shankam Chakram are fixed up. Originally there was no Shankha, there is no Chakra. The executive officer who had to change this Shankha Chakra, the what you call the silver thing, and he said, he told me, it is not there at all. But they won't remove this at the time of Abhisheka because it is fixed up. It is not, there is no Shankar Chakra there on the shoulder. You must know this. On the hand, there is no Shankar Chakra. That it is placed permanently, no harm anyway. Therefore, this Shankha and Chakra are placed permanently, made of silver. Originally, they are not there at all. That is why he is Ishvara Venkateshwaraha. You will never see a Vaishnava having a name with Ishvara. That is a problem. And the Ishvara is and therefore, you cannot say Rameshwara, etc. They will not call himself. And because Ishvara is there. And the problem is here Venkateshwara, why? Because he is Venkatagirishwaraha. He is a Lord. That is why the original name is Balaji. That is an excellent name because that Balaji is, it is a Kumara Vigraha. So then there down below in the south, at the tip of the country, there you have got a Kumari Vigraha. That Kanya Kumari there. And so there is a Kumari Vigraha. There in the Venkata it is Kumara Vigraha. That Kumara includes everything. He includes Vishnu, he includes Shiva, he includes, that's why Nagabharanam, etc. Even in the Venkateshwara Sahasranama, if you read, you will find all the Shivanamas also. And therefore he includes every form, every aspect that is the Venkateshwara. So thus you can, it is all Saguna Brahma. Therefore, any one aspect also is Purna. There is no aspect or anything, it is purely for our relating. But the aspect itself can represent the whole. And therefore, so this is called Sagunam Brahma, which we invoke in various forms. And therefore, in a definition, here Saguna Brahma Vyaparaha. So, Saguna Brahma Prati Vyaparaha. Vyaparasya Karma Sagunam Brahma. The altar of the action is Saguna Brahma. And so this Saguna Brahma Vyapara is threefold. What is that threefold Vyapara? One is Kayikam Karma or Kaya Karma. So here that a karma that is done in the form of worship, And or if it is Agni or Varuna, etc., if you are invoking through Agnihotra, and there Soma and Prajapati, so both of them are invoked in the Agni, Soma and Prajapati. So these are the three. So deities that are involved in the Agnihotra. There is a Saguna Brahma it is. Therefore, Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyaparaha. So that becomes a ritual. Kayikam Karma. And if it is purely, it is Vachikam, means it is orally you are doing this prayer, then again Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyaparaha. Vyapara, the Vishaya, the object is Saguna Brahma, but it is Vachikam, it is oral. And if it is not oral, it is not Kayikam, then what is it? Manasam. So this is what we call Manasa Vyapara. Therefore, definition of meditation you can understand now. Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. Therefore, looking here, looking there doesn't become meditation. So, but you know, they ask you to look at the tip of your nose. You had it if your nose had no tip. And therefore, so this a flat nose fellow cannot meditate. So this is the problem. It is like this all silly thing it is. Purely it is a religious thing it is. And therefore religious there is nothing wrong in that because Ishvara is there. In fact, Ishvara should not be looked upon as something that volitionally that you are relating and creating, etc. But it is a part of your living because you are an individual in the scheme of things. The scheme of things, the infrastructure is Ishvara. Therefore, it is practical. It is absolute pragmatism. And therefore, my relating to Ishvara should be very natural. It is not contrived. It is not belief-based. It is not faith-moved. My relating is purely just cognitive. So thus even as an individual, I am immediately so appreciative of the total, and in the total I am there, therefore it is cognitive. And I relate. And this relating, special relating, is what is said here to be Manasam Karma. And therefore it is purely mental. And if it is purely mental, it is called meditation. Will is involved. Mind becomes the karana. Mentally you are relating. It is an action. And mental action is as good as any other, even the physical action, only when you are able to do it. Therefore it is not a substitution again. It doesn't substitute your ritual really. So first, in fact, in every ritual, there is meditation. Mahaganapatim dhyayami kana mudipa. Dhyayami, avahayami, jatva avahayami. First I Mahaganapatim dhyayami. I visualize Mahaganapati. I meditate, and then afterwards, so that tam Mahaganapatim asmin bimbe avahayami. That Mahaganapati in this bimba I invoke. Then afterwards you perform the worship. Therefore, dhyana is an anga. Words are used. All the three karanas I told you. So in a puja. But here, so after having done the puja, after having, of course, so even sung in praise of Ishvara or recited, then I can relax into purely mentally relating to Ishvara. There is a temple near Tiruvallur. Madras, near Madras city, there is a temple. So this temple, I don't remember the name, if I forget the name. This temple, yeah, Perana? Tirunirainda Ura. Tirunindra Ur. Tirunindra Ur. So you should all go and see this temple. Tirunindra Ur. If you can go to Madras, this is a temple. And Tirunindra Ur, it has got a story. Every temple has got a story. Mostly concocted stories. But some stories are real, understand? So some stories are real, many of them concocted. Now, how did I know it is concocted? Because a new temple was created and one Panditji, he created Sthala Purana. For the new temple, he created Sthala Purana. Sthala Puranam. But then there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong in all that. So it is just relating to that whole thing. Now, but this one, I believe in this. This is something real. Now, this one is very interesting, whatever it is. So, a king built a temple. He wanted to do the Kumbhabhishekam, the consecration of this temple. He fixed up a particular date. And he was to perform this Kumbhabhishekam. And then just then he had some kind of in neither waking nor dream, there is one state. In this state alone you get all these premonitions and advices and Qurans, etc. you get there. And therefore, so in this particular situation, there he dreamt, whatever he visualized. Yeah, the Bhagavan as though coming and telling, on this particular day, there is another Kumbhabhishekam. At the same time, Muhurta, and you should attend that, it was told. Not that he cannot be at the same time in two places, but then he said, you should attend that Kumbhabhishekam. You fixed up another day, you should attend this. Not that Bhagavan cannot be in two places. So that means he becomes another guy. And therefore, at the same time he can be here, he can be there also. But then, he cannot be there, the king. Therefore, the king was ordered to attend this Kumbhabhishekam. And it is something, there was something like that he saw. And the temple is built by a sadhu. And he saw the sadhu also visualized. And at 3 he is sitting there. So in his own kingdom, a sadhu building a temple. He sent all his ministers to find out whether it is true or I am imagining. And the ministers did find out a sadhu to the description, and he was sitting under a tree. The Maharaja went to him when he came to know about it. He went to him and asked him, so Maharaji, have you built a temple? Yeah, I have been building a temple. In fact, I am busy now. And I am going to have the Kumbhabhishekam on this day. I fixed up the date and I am very busy. Now you please leave me alone. And he said, where are you building the temple? Here. Here? Yes, in my mind. I have done everything. Now the painting is going on. So I am busy painting now. Therefore the painting is going on. Don't disturb me now. And I have to finish it because the Muhurta is coming, therefore I am to. This is the temple. And then he performed this Kumbhabhishekam. The king was around camping for the Kumbhabhishekam to be over. Then after the Kumbhabhishekam is over, he asked him, please give me the plan of this temple. He has been doing this for 12 years. Every stone he had dressed and placed and built this temple for 12 years. After 12 years he has completed this temple. And on all the consecration it is a law. He said, then afterwards he told the king, it was wonderful Kumbhabhishekam. Millions of people had come. It was all, I had made arrangements for all of them. A lot of food was distributed. Everything was clean. This is a penniless temple consecration. There was no necessity. He distributed food for 10,000 people. All people had come. Oh, it was wonderful. That Kumbhabhishekam, what Veda Gosha, everything was wonderful. But he knew everything. How to do the whole thing. And he studied, and therefore he had, according to the Agama Vidhi, everything is done. It's a clean temple. Then can you give me the plan of the temple? Then he gave the plan of the temple. And to that plan is built this temple, and that is the Tirunindra Ur. You should go and see this temple. Simple temple, but very beautiful. This is a story. Effective. That visualization, these days, these therapists are all talking about visualization, etc. We have been doing this for ages. This visualization. all positive. So in this form, the visualization of that Ishvara, it is manasam karma, it is a mental action, which is dhyanam, which is meditation. Understand? Meditation means now it's all Saguna Brahma Manasa Vyapara, temple building also mentally is Saguna Brahma Manasa Vyapara, it is meditation. So in his meditation he built a temple. And whenever he finished his lunch and all that, start again building temple. And he heard all this cut, and everything is stone, putting the stone and carrying the stone, and everything he did this. So I believe in this, and I want to believe in this also. And therefore, because it's very beautiful. And therefore, so these are the things, whenever you believe something, that understand that belief is something, it is beautiful to believe. Those things we should believe. What all that is beautiful, we should believe. Because there is such a thing as meditation. And there is such a thing as the visualization. There is such a thing as a plan like this, and then it can be built outside also. A Raja can build it, and Sadhu can build it here. That is the difference between the two. He has got money, he has got mind. But and so it's such a nice thing. And then that proves the point that manasam karma is as efficacious, as good as any other karma, if one is really committed to that kind of manasa kriya. And therefore, here he says, Kaya vangmanaha karyamuttamam pujanam japa Chintanam kramat. Kramat uttamam bhavati. Kramat means respectively, in order. Uttamam bhavati. Uttamam means, kramat uttamam means one is following the other. One is leading to the other. Like in a ladder. The rungs of the ladder, one is superior to the other. But that doesn't mean that there is a superior rung. Because if there is no first rung, there is no second rung. If there is no second rung, there is no third rung. And therefore each one is important, but at the same time, one is over the other, one leads to the other. Similarly, pujanam, and because here all the three karanas are in play, when you are performing a ritual, there is no real substitution for that. And when you have done this, then you can cut down one karana, and you have got only two you employ, and later that also you cut it out and do it mentally. And therefore one leads to the other. And for the other two to be efficacious, the first one is done. And then for the third to be efficacious, the second is also done. And then the third becomes efficacious. Suddenly, if the fellow sits there in meditation, it doesn't become meditation, it is meditation. It doesn't work. It doesn't work really. You cannot commit yourself, mind is all over. And therefore, that devotion really has to be built up. And for this alone, we have pujanam, japaha, chintanam, kaya vang manah karyam, kayena karyam, then again vacha karyam, then manasa karyam, kaya vak manah karyam. And this karyam, and what it is, pujanam, japaha, chintanam, respectively. One is pujanam, kaya karyam is pujanam, vak karyam is pujanam, japa. He says japa. Japa means Rudra Japam. You can, japa is anything that you repeat is called japa. So anything, it can be oral or mental. This is called japa, can be both oral and mental. Here oral he says japa, includes tava also. He will tell that later. Japa, then afterwards chintanam, means purely thinking, visualizing. That is called kramat uttamam bhavati. Kaya vangmana karyamuttamam pujanam japas chintanam kramat uttamam bhavati iti sheshaha. Therefore one leads to the other. Okay. Then Then he says, Uttamastavat. The Jagata Ishadi will do later. Uttamastavat Uchamandate Chitta Jam Japa Dhyanamuttamam. So it is Uttamaha and it is Stavascha. Uttamastavaha. This is Uttamastava. That is the Vedic hymn. So Vedic hymns are wonderful if you can chant them. But then Uttamastavate Ucha Mandataha Japat. Ucha Mandataha Japat. Then Ucha Japa. Ucha Japa is so chanting. So alright, then suppose Stava is when you are doing Vishnu Sahasranama or Rudra Japa or Purusha Sukta, there are many words involved, many sentences involved. That is the Uttamastavaha. Then you can take one of them and then repeat. And you repeat. That is called Japa. That is more generally one sentence you take and then repeat Japa. Or the whole thing can be repeated. Therefore they will say Ekadasha Rudri Japam. Japa. So the whole thing is one. Then if you consider the whole Rudra is one, then you repeat that 11 times. That is also called Japa. Any repetition is Japa. It can be oral or mental. Then this Japa itself, here what he says here, first Stava implies, which implies necessarily words and sentences. And then from there, the Stava also can include singing. Stava, the beauty of Stava is singing also can be brought in there. The word Stava. So you can bring in all the Tyagaraja Kirtana, etc. Or any saints, or anyone's song, or you yourself created one, and you can sing those songs. And that also can be included in the Stava. We have to include because that is in our culture. That is there. In other cultures also songs of, songs of praise of Lord. And generally in a church they sing, they got this big organ and then it's a big thing, it is choir. Chorus generally. All join together and sing. It's very beautiful. So that is all Uttamastavaha. All forms of singing. But this the singing the theme must be Ishvara. In some form or the other, there should be Ishvara there. Then only we are talking about Stava. It's not the other one. So, this baby, etc. So, this is a modern song. The lyrics, the fellows have run out of material anyway. Therefore, this time I love you really. Previously it was not. No. And this kind of the fellows have run out of themes. And then it's a beaten thing. And put addition. Anyway, therefore, it should be Bhagavan must be there in it. Then it's okay. If you say, oh Lord, I love you this time really, then it's okay. And therefore, so Uttamastavat. Then from there you come down to one name. One name. And you repeat that. This repetition can be Japa, let's say Japa. If you go to Guruvayur, and they will be repeating Narayana, 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 Narayana. Amma, Narayana, 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 Japa Manuan. Narayana, 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 Narayana. Narayana. So Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. I can understand that in Badrinath. There, it is it is so cold. There they will say Narayana Hari 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 Narayana. அவன் சொல்லுவான் அங்கே டப்பா டப்பான்னு அடிச்சுட்டு இருக்கோம். அது தட் இஸ் ஓகே, ஐ கேன் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட். இங்கே என்னடான்னு கேட்கணும். Everybody is here, this is a style. Narayana, Narayana. This is it. But that is japa. This is called Ucha Japa. You are repeating the mantra Ucha Japam. This Ucha Japa is reduced to Manda Japa. It's all there. It's all there is a reason for all. You can just look at this. An elaborate puja. Then afterwards you cut down. The material is gone and your hands etc. are released. There is nothing to do now and you are only using your voice and the mind, of course. 3 to 2. And this again, there again you are singing. So a song. And there music and swaras etc. various things are involved. And there again you are reducing to only a set of verses, which is recitation. From singing to recitation. From recitation again to one chant. And that one chant is again, it is Ucha. Ucha means as you were singing, you are in the same pitch, you are repeating Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Bhagavan Nama Japa. And this Ucha Japa means I hear, others hear. Ucha Japa. Not others to hear. No. It's not others to hear. I hear, others hear. That is called Ucha Japa. Then Ucha Japa becomes Manda Japa. I hear. Others make an inference. I must be chanting something. I hear. So Narayana, Narayana, Narayana becomes Narayana. You hear. You can hear. That is called Manda Japa. Then that is what we call Manda Japa or Upamshi Japa. A Japa which you can hear and others cannot hear. So you reduce. Now you can see how we are reduction. The reduction is from the when you are chanting loudly, then still it's little different. And so you are still withdrawing unto yourself. And only you can hear. Still you are hearing your own chanting. Therefore chanting is an action, hearing is a perception. And afterwards this perception and chanting perception action, the perception aspect of it is, external perception aspect of it is gone. Then purely chanting takes place mentally. That is why I am telling mental chanting doesn't imply this one. This can join mind generally because whenever you are chanting, a voice has got a tendency to join. Therefore that Manda Japate, Chitta Jam Japam. So Chitta Jam means Chitte Jatam. Chitta Jam. So that which obtains in the mind. Purely in the mind. And that Japam itself is Dhyanam. That itself is meditation. And that is Uttamam Bhavati. Kramad Uttamam. Uttamastavat. Ucha Mandataha Japat. Chitta Jam Japat Dhyanam. Uttamam Bhavati. One leading to the other. Can understand the order here. So why this is told, this mental japa is uttamam? Because not only the relating to Ishvara remaining the same, the absorption you gather, there is a certain quality difference. And so because of this absorption possible in this chanting of the same thing in the mind. Why? Because you can never, look at this one, you can never predict what will be your next thought. Can you? You can't predict. Can be anything. And generally some connection will be there. A subtle connection or a direct connection, some association. But then there is no possibility of predicting your next thought. That's why all our predictions and all that are silly. Because you can't predict your own next thought, what prediction you are making. So this is the next thought you can't predict. What's your next thought? And therefore, any thinking process is all okay. Any thought comes okay because there is no predictability. There is nothing wrong. Therefore, when you see an auto, here is auto rickshaw, a three-wheeler, auto, you see an auto. This auto, the menace, came into being because of a two-wheeler called Lambretta. Original, that's how Lambretta. This Lambretta, the menace, came from Italy, as a lot of other things also come. So this Italy is the place from where it comes. Once you think of Italy, you think of spaghetti. Once you think of spaghetti, you think of your own mind. And because spaghetti, you never pick up one noodle. So you always pick up a bunch of them. And therefore, the mind also is like this, never, not one. It's always a bunch of thoughts, one followed by other. And then, so spaghetti, the noodles take you to mind, mind takes you to spaghetti, spaghetti takes you to tomatoes, and tomatoes take you to ketchup, and ketchup takes you to, what do you call that? There's the fry, French fry, and French fry takes you to France, France takes you to samsara, samsara takes you to Vedanta, Vedanta takes you to. It's all clean. You know what is French samsara? That is the name of a perfume. Remember that. So whatever you know, that exactly it keeps moving all over. There are so many other things also it can take to. Anything can take to anything. Everything is connected in this world. And you should be able to jump that. The more you can jump, more informed you are. And if you are living in a village, only a few things, then you will be jumping from your buffalo to cow, cow to some of these things, and then to mother-in-law, and this. These are the only things, because your jumping area is limited, that's all. The more exposure means more areas to jump. So you can keep going all over the world. This is the greatness of our exposure. And everything is all right. This is mechanical thinking, unbridled thinking. And so this unbridled thinking is responsible for also getting into depression and all other problems also. Even though there can be a pressure, etc., which we can release, but still we can get into a habit of the same thinking. And therefore we have to have a certain occasion for ourselves we have to create, wherein we know when the mind moves away. Here the mind moving away is not wrong. Because what is wrong? You see a three-wheeler and you think of a two-wheeler, there is nothing wrong here. There is nothing wrong. Therefore, we have to create an occasion when we can detect something wrong, and for which you should know what is going to be your next thought. That is why given chant is good. So if it is a given chant, after that chant, a Gayatri or whatever, that chant is a given chant, and anything other than that is what? Is a distraction. Therefore, vikshepa is only with reference to what you have committed yourself to do. And it should be repetitive. Repetitive is the best. The sajatiya vritti, etc., also I don't agree with that completely. That's a good technique there. Because it's even though it is good, just you think about the same thing, etc., that we have given enough play. In your puja, etc., it's all sajati. Mentally, if you do puja, it is sajati. That is okay, fine. But still we are reducing that to one chant. So one chant when you repeat, then the next is going to be Om Namah Shivaya. Next is Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. That is your choice. Then next is Om Namo Narayanaya. Next is Om Namo Narayana. Next is Om Namo Narayana. Then there is no guarantee next will be Om Namo Narayana. There is no guarantee. Narayanan. There is a fellow in your office, Narayanan. Why Narayanan didn't turn up this morning? I think his wife is in the hospital. He told me, I think maternity. Poor fellow, how he is going to live in that small house with one more child? Then he should get a better house. How will he get better house? Better house means a lot of money. How will he manage? How I am managing? You look at me. Yeah, I wish that I had a better house. They are very illegitimate thinking, you know. But it's all while meditation. Everybody thinks he is meditating. A fellow he is going around the maternity hospital. So therefore, what I say, so this kind of a thinking, Narayanaya is a commitment. Mr. Narayana is not the commitment. I have commitment made, and therefore I can bring the mind back. Yato nischarati tatastato niyamya yetat manaha. Atmani vasham nayet. This is Bhagavan Krishna's advice to us. So, because of which object means holding on, occupying with what object? The mind has manifested itself as a distracted mind, and from that object bring the mind back. This is what he says. And therefore, so from Narayana, Mr. Narayana, bring it back to Om Namo Narayana. So we have created for ourselves an occasion wherein I have this chance of discerning a distraction or discerning the distracted mind or distracted me, and because of my own commitment and auto-suggestion, I can bring it back. That bringing it back is a part of the definition of meditation. Understand? And therefore, Japad Jhanam Uttamam Bhavati. Because here you get that absorption. And also in the process you learn the ways of your mind. And you know how to handle this mind. And mind has to be handled. That means you get some space to look at your mind. That getting that space is what they are all aiming at. One day or the other we have to get that space, and more you will do it, the more chances are there for you to get that space. We don't require to have a particular type of mind. All that we require is space to handle the mind. Okay. Let it think in whichever way, it's fine. As long as it's available for you, fine. Let it have its own agenda, we don't care. As long as you have space. And that space helps you also understand Vedanta also. So that you need not judge yourself on the basis of your mind. And therefore all that is helpful. Therefore Bhagavan here he says, Uttamastavat Uchamandataha Japat, all Panchami. You know, so from the standpoint of better than, better than means one leading to the other. Better than this is this, better than that is finally is Japad Jhanam Uttamam Bhavati Kramat. That is Japad Jhanam is an ultimate end here.